Hi everyone, Boris Schlossberg from BKT. Pre-holiday Labor Day week, we had a lot of activity in the currency market, but actually very little movement. So we're not really going to talk about trades this week. I thought we were going to do something a little bit more special. Talk about this setup that I've been telling everyone that I've been testing over the last month and a half that I think is very, very interesting for us to consider as part of our trading arsenal. Now, many of you are familiar with my run for the 00 setup, which is basically you won't want to run for the round number setup, where we take a position if we're going to be long at 80, or a position if we're going to be short at like 20, to run towards the round number to basically try to trigger the stops. The interesting thing about this setup is that I've thought more and more about it, and I realized that the actual impetus behind the setup is the run of the stops at the actual round figure. So one of the things that I've done is I've totally turned the setup around and I flipped it and basically decided, let's see what happens if we start trading the setup once the figure is broken. The idea being is that since all the stops are at the figure, once the stops are triggered at that figure, there should be a lot more down through on the downside and upward movement on the upside as the flutter continues and the momentum goes on. And I've had some tremendous success. As a matter of fact, I think my latest count is, if I'm not mistaken, 15 out of the last 18 trades have been positive. Let me show you just the 3 trades I made on Friday to give you an idea of exactly how I traded the setup. What you see here is the dollar-yen chart, Friday morning action. Basically, this is the Asian session, which of course I'm never trading because of course we know that Asian session is usually very, very quiet. And here comes the front of the European session. And we see that yen is actually stronger all the way through Asia. Basically, we're starting to see a lot more anti-dollar movement at the start of the trading session. Oil at that point was still trading 117. And come the front of London, we break the 109. I get short here, boom, boom, boom. It became a very, very nice setup. I'm going to be trading this setup live in our chat room next week and show you the exact details of what I do. Because the thing that's very, very important about this setup is that you got to take the profits when they come to you. And there are probably a lot of different variations on the money management theme, which I'll explore later. But for the time being, know that the trigger was the 00, and it's been very, very successful, at least in all of the setups that I've done. The yen trade here was the 109 break. I made some very nice money on the handle here. But here's what I wanted to show you that's kind of interesting on the other side. This is the pound story later on in the day. We're now in the US session. And actually, this is a very good example of being very quick and nimble with this setup. We're in the US session, 8:30 US income data comes out. It looks absolutely horrid, and I actually get bullish pound, or rather bearish dollars. The pound breaks the 83 handle post the US data, and I'm a buyer here. Now, the overall tone of the pound was actually very negative, but buying 8,300 still made me some money because the thing fluttered all the way up to 83.20, and I was able to bank small profits. Reverse the situation 2 or 3 hours later after US data in Chicago PMI and U of M comes out much stronger, and we see more and more liquidation on the pound. And now we're on the 8,200 stops, and right here we see the 8,200 gets tripped. Boom, another very good candle, and I made some more money over here. So, in short, the strategy does work very well. It actually, I think, has better potential than the original 00 strategy. But I'm going to trade it live this week. Come join us at BKT. I'm going to share with you exactly the money management parameters that really work well on this strategy, and hopefully everybody will have a great time. This is Boris Schlossberg, the best of Labor Day weekend. Next week, it's the start of the autumn trading season. I can't be possibly more excited. Let's go out there and make some money. Talk to you later.